Now we welcome on from the Washington Post, Les Carpenter. Les, welcome aboard.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Les. Well, we have so many questions for you today about the Washington football team. But I'm going to start with the one that I think is on everybody's minds here in Cleveland, and that is, how is Chase Young looking? How has he played so far? And how in the heck did Washington sack Carson Wentz 8 times in the opener?
Well, those are probably two questions separately. The one first with Chase, he's looked great. You could tell right away in training camp. There's always that one player that might stick out a little bit more. And in this case, we hadn't seen these guys at all in mini camps or anything. You walk into training camp, and in the first couple practices, he's just blowing guys up. He's the first guy in the backfield, and it's really kind of been that way during the season too. He looked really good against Philadelphia. Obviously, when you're chasing Kyler Murray, it's a little bit different game, and they're still getting used to this defense, and he's still getting used to the NFL. But he looks, through 2 games, you can say, gosh, I think this guy's going to be pretty good. How they sacked Carson Wentz 8 times is interesting. The Eagles line was a little banged up. This is kind of an underrated line. There's a lot of first-round picks, not just Chase Young. The first-round picks go all the way across this defensive front. I think they're finally playing a defense, too, that was better suited for the talent here. They've been a 3-4 for recent years. When the new regime comes in with Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, they went to a 4-3. I think it suits the defensive tackles better. I think it suits the pass rushers better. And they just, I think what we saw against Philadelphia is kind of what we think this defensive line can be.
Specifically, I'm curious about how you see the matchup between Chase and Jedrick Wills, the Browns' number 10 overall pick. Now, we know that they're going to move Chase around a little bit. Do you expect to see that this game, or do you think they'll try to exploit a rookie left tackle learning a new side of the line?
Well, and remember, too, Washington, because of the new staff, is still trying to figure everything out as well themselves. And since they go too deep up front, Young isn't going to be getting as many rushes as you would think that necessarily he would have if it was a year from now, or even maybe 6 months from now, or whatever, 6 months, but 3 months, 2 months, whatever it is. I think right now they're trying to get just lots and lots of reps for a lot of guys. So he probably won't be on the field as much as you would expect. I would say this, though. He hasn't looked lost yet. He has done very well with the guys he's gone up against so far. So we'll see. I'm excited about that one too. I really kind of want to see where, I think this is a new test for him, and it'll be interesting to see. He's passed everyone so far, for whatever it's worth.
Now, on the other side of the ball, a guy that a lot of Browns fans who are also Ohio State fans know very well is Dwayne Haskins. Obviously Washington has decided to roll it back with him this year. Was that a vote of confidence in him? Was that more of, hey, you've got to take Chase Young in that spot? What's the belief level right now in Haskins?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, first of all, yeah, you were definitely going to take Chase Young with that pick. There was no doubt about that. It was a no-brainer. But going back, yeah, the Haskins thing has been wrought with a lot of trouble all from the very beginning, and not very little of it his fault in a lot of ways. The previous regime did not want him. I think that was a little bit more of an owner pick, local kid. He spent a lot of time growing up in the D.C. area, spent his high school years and junior high school years here. So it was very much one that I think Dan Snyder wanted. Jay Gruden, not so much. Gruden was coaching for his job anyway, so I think it was an idea you don't want to roll with a young quarterback. Haskins wasn't ready either. He had only played 1 year as a starter at Ohio State, so it was a bit of a struggle for him. He really looked lost last year and really did not come off to a lot of people as the leader. There was nothing, even when he was playing late in the year, that said he's the leader of this group. There was a lot of maturing, a lot of toughening that needed to come. Rivera came in, and I think from the very beginning he had decided Dwayne Haskins was going to be the guy. He made a little bit of noise about maybe wanting to have there be a little bit of competition, but not really. He was the guy, and I think he uses as his guidepost for everything Cam Newton. Rivera came in cold in 2011 without any offseason, if you remember, with the lockout. Cam Newton was the first pick overall to Carolina, and he just went with him from the very beginning, and he went through the ups and the downs. I will say this about Haskins. Haskins has changed a ton in terms of his presence, in terms of how, players have talked about how he's just a different guy around them. He's a lot more mature. He's taking charge. I think one of the big moments you guys may have heard about was at the halftime against Philadelphia when Washington's down 17-7. It looked terrible. Rivera, he's getting cancer treatments. Among all the storylines with Washington, Ron Rivera has cancer. And so he was getting an IV at halftime just to give him energy for the second half because of the treatments he's getting. And Dwayne Haskins went in the locker room, gave the halftime speech. I think it kind of surprised everybody a little bit. So you see these steps that he's taking. But on the field, there's he gets excited. He gets energized early in the games. All his passes sail high. He kind of forgets his mechanics. And I think they're trying to work on him on having presence, staying under control. When he kind of settles into a game, he plays pretty well. He's not getting a ton of protection. I think that hurts him too. But I think their hope is that if they ride the ups and downs with him this year, that Rivera thinks he has his Cam Newton for the future, even if they're different style quarterbacks.
Well, as we're talking here, I really think I've thought of the new nickname for Washington. It just should be the Buckeyes, don't you think? I mean,
well, it could be, except for the fact that there's a ton of Alabama guys as well.